follow us on all of our social channels. We're on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, and YouTube. Most of our past presentations since we've gone virtual, which we've been virtual for just about 2 years. We went virtual not last year, excuse me. It has been 2 years. In March of 2020 was our first virtual event. So most of our past events are recorded and shared on our YouTube channel. So if you're interested in checking out any past presentations, that's the place to see it. We also have a private Facebook. So if you're on Facebook, it's a great place to join and, to ask for advice, share articles. If you're looking for a job or if you're hiring, it's a great spot to share that information. If you just want to brag and celebrate something that you've accomplished, that's a good spot to share that. It's a private group, so it's only the members of the group that will see that. And so that's on Facebook. You can also find it on our Jersey Shore Women in Tech Facebook page. There's like a community menu and it links to our private group, or you can search for the group. The group can be found publicly, but you have to be a member of the group to participate. We are also always looking for speakers. So if you or somebody that may be interested in speaking, you can go to our website, jerseyshorewomενintech.com, and apply to speak to our group. And we couldn't do what we do without our wonderful sponsors. So our sponsors are Leaderati, which we have Anita from Leaderati today. Excuse me, Anita. She's the CEO. Do you want to talk about Leaderati now, Anita, or do you want to do that as part of your intro?
No, it's fine. I'll do it as part of the flow to the intro. It's fine.
Okay. All right, great. And also Vidya is one of our sponsors. And Vidya is a music and media tech company located at Bellworks campus in Homedale. Vidya powers the business side of music labels and media companies through an all-in-one platform that allows users to manage content rights, payments, and view reporting on analytics and revenue. Jenna, does Vidya have any job openings?
We're currently interviewing for data engineers and senior data engineers. So if anyone's interested in working with a plethora of music data, please let us know.
Awesome, thank you.
So hi, everybody. Thank you for your kind words. And it's good to see some old friends here. Special shout out to Esther. I have not gone away. Someday I'll send in an article. I've actually started, I've started teaching as a professor at Hudson County Community College, and I teach marketing in the business school. So that's been sort of a little like a night hobby. It's a night remote class. So that's been taking my time, but it's really kind of a dream of mine to eventually go into teaching full time and remotely too, because part of the remote teaching is to learn they're called LMS, learning management systems. And God bless these teachers that have to learn these. It's quite daunting, and having a technology background has really helped me to do that. So I think it's going to be a great mix, in the future. I'm years down because I'm still with my agency and we're still very active. And my company's Leaderati, and we are made up of IT professionals. I basically pulled a bunch of people in from tech companies and distributors and manufacturers all over the channel in the US. And we built this agency to help technology companies and, businesses, B2B all over the US and Canada, help them build opportunities, using digital marketing and social marketing and demand generation. So we work with very large, suppliers and like Dell and Cisco and HP and just from our location here in New Jersey, which is remote. And so we really just help companies build opportunities from their marketing efforts. So yes, if you're going to do a press release, it's great to have the press, but let's make sure we put a link into maybe a site, a page on your web that collects leads or collects contacts and things like that. You always want to kind of take it a step further. So today we're going to talk about, this is something that we've been working with our customers for. We've been in business, this agency, for about 10 years. And I've been training IT and technology and business to business firms on LinkedIn for the last 10 years. So you can imagine this training has changed quite a bit. It's always being updated based on what LinkedIn feels like doing with their updates, right? So this is really about branding yourself. And so what I want to ask you is, how many times a week do you stop at Starbucks, right? I know I stop a lot because I'm comfortable with the quality of their coffee, right? But much like Starbucks, you too have to create an identifiable brand, right? What's a brand? It's everything you say, it's everything you write about, it's what you look like, it's what people think about you when they hear your name. Okay, think of people like Elon Musk or Oprah or Gates, or you get a sense and a feeling as to what they're about, right? The brand is about you. How do you appear online? How do you appear to your friends, your colleagues, your partners, your customers? Okay, it's what happens with LinkedIn is that it gives you the ability to create a 360-degree profile of you. Okay, and so that you have hot links and you can link people to different pieces of content you've written, or where you've been on a video or a blog or whatever, right? It's when you need, it's important to pay attention to LinkedIn, because when you need a specific type of expertise, you think of a person who's the expert in the field that you need, and you might go to them. You want a software engineer, or you want a writer. So when people think of you, right, what expertise comes to mind? So stop and think for a minute and think about what your expertise is and lock it into your brain, because in branding yourself, everything you do has to point to that expertise. Okay. So what we're going to do today is I'm going to give you some key tips on how you can help people recognize your specific expertise online and your IT experience and differentiate you. Okay. And I like the quote, there was a quote, and it's actually not on this slide, but it's about really controlling how others see you, as opposed to leaving it up to fate, right? So we want to control our brand, and how we're going to do that is one of the ways, and the biggest way in our B2B, in our businesses, is through LinkedIn. So we're going to go into our LinkedIn profiles, and today I'm going to go through, I call it mastering LinkedIn to gain business opportunity, but today we're going to optimize the profile. Okay. And so I do this training to sales teams a lot. And it teaches them how to kind of get dressed for the party if they're going to the IT sales marketplace, and then how to also go out there and get their opportunities. But tonight we're just going to focus on optimizing the profile, which is very important to do. Okay. Let me close this. Okay. Why does this matter to you? Well, what I just said, CNN Money actually said it. Part of a networked world is that people will be looking you up. And when they do, you want to control what they find. We don't want to leave that up to chance. Okay. Today, we're going to talk about creating your expert brand on LinkedIn and 10 steps to a power profile. Okay. So we know today the world's largest social professional network is LinkedIn. Okay. And but what I always found interesting was, again, I play in our field in tech. And so it's always interesting when I get specific statistics about IT. And this is from Forrester Research saying that, IT decision makers are avid adopters of social media, and they've engaged with the vendor or a colleague on social networks. So that underscores the value of having a conversation between buyers, sellers, colleagues, whatever. Okay. So it's a legitimate, obviously, social platform. We talked a little bit about expertise. Oh, and one more thing too, I didn't do my housekeeping. So if anyone has a question, just feel free to put it in the chat and I'll get to it. I'll take a pause and we'll answer some live stuff. We're also going to, we'll go to my profile and we'll look at a few things based on whatever questions that you have. Okay. So the valued expert and P2P culture. So P2P means person to person. And this is really about when you're building this profile, it's about showing yourself up to the table as a valued expert. And not only that, but showing yourself up to the table as a human, as a person with a robust life that is likable and that somebody might want to do business with. And Sandler Sales Training has a great quote: people do business with people they like and people that are like themselves. Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through 10 steps, and these are steps that are proven. And if you do these on your profile, you are going to have increased views. Also, you're going to have an optimal power profile, and you'll show up in, the best light as an expert in the field. Okay. Give me 1 second. I want to check my chat. Okay. Okay. Number one, we want to use a high-res close-up friendly photo and image. Okay. These are kind of my red X's, what not to do. We have the classic, dark photo. We have a classic photo in an outfit that might not be work appropriate. We have the cool guy staring into the distance. And then of course we have the famous wedding shots that everybody crops out the person next to them, but never really quite does a great job doing it. So none of these are really considered professional. Remember that when people go to your profile, this is the first impression they get of you. It's like your online business card. Okay. So you want to have a photo that's friendly, approachable, close. You want it close and you want a high resolution. Okay. So that's really super important to do. Number two, your headline. This is called the headline in LinkedIn here. And it's the space that's right underneath your name. This is the number one place that LinkedIn grabs keywords from its algorithm search. So when someone is searching maybe for a IT specialty or digital and social media marketing person, LinkedIn brand expert, because I have these words in my headline, I'm going to come up at the top of the searches because I've used this that way. This is a very valuable piece of real estate that if you don't do anything with it and you leave it at the default is your title. Okay. I encourage people to use it for keywords, use it for the words that are used in your, in your field. So if you see me, and you can do it two ways. You can do it narrative, college grad with experience in social media, seeking entry-level opportunity, or keyword. Put your keywords, your top expertise words in this headline. Okay. Number three, the about section. This is the second area that LinkedIn crawls and searches to find keywords and find what you're all about. Okay. The first two lines are super important in this about area down here because it's really what shows up in the actual profile. And I see this is probably the most common mistake that people make on LinkedIn is that they use this either for, or they don't use it at all. And they waste the opportunity to put expertise in there and also be ranked higher in a search. But number two, they'll also use it to describe their company, or they'll use it as a resume in the third person. What we want to do with the about section is we want to create a profile about yourself that tells a story about you and your expertise. Not only that, but a little bit about you in terms of as a person. right? And I think that that's the main, when we train companies, this is the main section that we focus on a lot, because I often train software engineers, architects, some C-level CIOs and things, and they always want us to be seen, you know, as having gravitas, having that, you know, that high level brand. So we very carefully go through this about section, and we tell a story. Hello?
Yeah,
Somebody's-
can everyone just make sure they're on mute? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay. And so I have a template. It's, you know, few paragraph here, paragraph there, paragraph here, but I'm going to show you a couple really good, couple really good profiles that you can use for an example to do yours. We don't want to use jargon, and this is in any business writing, but especially in your profile. This profile is not a brochure about your company. It's really about you. Remember, people are doing business with people that they like and that they trust and that they feel are experts. Okay. So we don't want to use these overused words like best in class, gold standard, leading edge. Keep those out of your profile. You're going to tell, you know, you're going to speak in conversational style, and you're going to, you know, just be a person to person language. Okay. Number 4, your links. LinkedIn is unique in that it allows you, unlike a resume, okay, it allows you to show off a 360-degree, a holistic view of yourself and your talents and your expertise. So we want to make sure that you use the link capabilities of the platform, okay? And you'll see in here when you're doing your experience and in the experience areas, it always allows you to add links, upload. You can either upload a document or you can put a link in. And I always use these links and uploads to show, you know, a more in-depth profile of what I've done. Okay. It's always more interesting for people to see that 360-degree view. And it's really, it really is more powerful than a resume to be able to do that. Okay. Number 5, your public and contact information. So LinkedIn, by default, if you look and you go into your profile settings, you'll see here it's called edit your custom URL. If you don't edit that, it comes in with some jargon. You know, it's just a bunch of characters, and sometimes it'll be your name with characters. It's not clean. So I recommend to everyone go in and edit your URL, because this URL, this website link is unique to you. So anyone in the world, regardless of whether they are whether they're on LinkedIn or they have a linked LinkedIn, anyone in the world can type this into a browser right here and get my page, my public LinkedIn page. So it's really like a mini website is what it is. Okay. So make sure that you make it easy, make it your name if you can. Sometimes you have other people with your name, put a 1 after it or something, and then use it, you know, and put that URL in your email signature, resumes, you know, correspondence, because if you work to build this profile up, it really shows you off in a very, you know, deep light, with deep expertise. Okay, number 6, your contact information. So it's amazing to me, like a lot of the, I do train a lot of salespeople that they don't have their contact information, and they have the basic stuff in here. If you're working in the field and you work with people, or you do development, business dev, anything where you, even if you're looking for a job, make yourself accessible and provide as many contact points as possible. Okay, including your blogs. You do a blog, put it in there, okay? And you'll see in here, you know, anything that I'm associated with. You've got here a NewJerseyTechWeekly.com, and that goes to, you know, actually one of my articles in there. So I try to really keep this robust, emails, Twitter, my work phone, etc. So I find that to be really important to do. Okay, anyone have any questions so far? I don't see anything in the chat yet. Anything, what we already talked about? Yeah.
Anita the Salson. So I've been looking at that, the piece where you can attach, you know, specific pieces to show things that you've worked on. What kind of things do you recommend? Like, obviously, you know, some client work is confidential, but could you say, you know, could you put in, would you recommend screenshots or like a case study that kind of summarizes projects that you've worked on? Specifically, I'm a product manager,
Okay.
and I work with a lot of different clients on, you know, their software, either for new functionality or to support existing functionality.
So one of the things that is safe to do, especially when you're doing, you know, proprietary stuff, and is that if your client or anyone does anything public in terms of, so say they do a press release on a product and you worked on it, you can certainly put any public domain links in there.
That's a good idea.
Yeah, that's typically what I'll do. If it's a product you worked on and the product is on their website, that's public domain. Put it in there and put an explanation. The other thing you could do is if your company does a case study with regards to the software implementation with that client, and it's out there and it's a done case study, you can either put a link to the case study from your company site, or you can actually put the PDF on there. You can do either. You can put a PDF or you can put a live link. But I look for public domain stuff. I'll also put like links to my blog, or like the last, actually you'll see in mine, the last time I spoke at to this group, I think Esther, we did a piece in New Jersey Tech Weekly, and you'll see I actually linked to the piece in my media. So you can get creative with it, you know.
Yeah, no, those are definitely some good ideas.
Yeah, right, good. Okay, let's see what else. Do you suggest using a personal email address in case you leave the company? Yes. So this is an old sticking point. So when you set up your LinkedIn account, it's always a best practice, really, really, to use your personal, an email that ports with you wherever you go. So whether that's Gmail, Yahoo, whatever, you want to log in with that, because I actually had experiences where we had people that had been let go, and in some of my old companies, and their LinkedIn address, their LinkedIn logins were attached to the company emails. They couldn't get in, and they had to start a new LinkedIn profile. So you always want that, you want that portable, and you want that to be your own. In your profile, you can put your company email. You can put that as a contact point, but you want to use a personal email address when you're setting up the account. That should be your primary address, so you can get into it no matter what happens. Okay. I would love to learn more about not using jargon, how to rewrite. Well, so we wanna, when we write, you wanna write just as if you're speaking to someone. And the way that I'm speaking to you now, or the way you would speak to someone, say it's a colleague at dinner or lunch or whatever, right, is how you want to write. You're never going to sit there and you're going to sit next to your coworker and or your customer and say, yeah, we're doing leading edge, cutting edge stuff, but our stuff's gold standard. You don't talk like that. So what I'm saying is become more personable, take it down to the first person level, and speak in just plain language. Okay, as if you were speaking to somebody in a conversation. Okay. Let's go to number 7, be a name dropper. LinkedIn, again, has an algorithm all of its own. Think of it like a Google, because people do search on LinkedIn, and people will also search on your name. And it's so frustrating to me sometimes when I'm trying to find somebody and and they don't come up, or they 4 people with their name come up before them. There's no photo. I don't know which one they are, right? So what you want to do is you want to make sure that you drop your name into the profile as much as you can. So one of the things you can do is in this about section, that summary that we just talked about before. Okay. I always sign off. So I'll say thank you. And then what I do is I put my name in here, and I'll show you that on the profile. And then that way it's loaded again, so that when LinkedIn crawlers go to search, somebody's searching on your name becomes it gets more clout, because your name is now twice in your profile. So you just gave it some more weight. So you'll come up higher in these searches if your name's in there a couple of times. That's just like a little trick. Number 8, your experience. So this is not a resume. Again, it's short. This is an impression of you. This is where someone comes online and they just say, okay, yeah, I want to work with them, or yeah, let me see, I want to hire them. Or, if you're going for a job, you're going to have to put your resume in, but it's just important to give that impression of expertise. And so this is, again, where you want to use your media links, okay, when you can. And, for people that are in school or looking for jobs, make sure that you add a link to maybe a site people are doing. I know personal websites now for jobs and things, and any presentations that you've done that you're proud of, etc. So use those links. But here, what I recommend is try not to go over 3 bullets. I usually say create a descriptive first line, and then 3 or 2 bullets underneath. And then of course, I'll show you Lou's profile, but he puts his awards in his media links. Okay. So short is sweet. This is not comprehensive. Okay. Number 9, your accomplishments. You want to use this section because, again, you are giving a 360-degree view. You're not just about the last 3 jobs that you did and then go home. You're about the projects you did, the publications you may have written or been in, your honors or awards, organizations you're associated with. Okay. And even I tell people that coach teams, to have kids, and put that in there, because coaching is leadership, coaching is organization, coaching is, so there are always soft skills in your accomplishments. And again, it's really powerful for someone to go to your profile and see all this cool stuff. Okay. So use the accomplishments. That's the beauty of the platform and the power. 10th step, manage your endorsements and recommendations. So everyone's seen this on their profiles. And at one point I removed it because I thought it was annoying. And then I have a contact at LinkedIn who told me to put it back on, because apparently this is another area where LinkedIn searches for keywords for your expertise. So if you have it on your profile and someone is looking for, say, corporate branding or marketing strategy or social media marketing or whatever, you're going to come up in those top searches because your skills are up here. So the algorithm and the search is bringing people to your profile again, because you have it listed here. Okay. Up at the top, LinkedIn lets you pick 3 skills that you really want to be known for. And you'll see too, it's important. Look in those skills and the endorsements, because there'll always be ones that you don't want in there. Maybe you don't want to be an expert in Microsoft Word, or project management, or, SharePoint, or whatever's not applicable. You can just delete it, just put it in the garbage. And you can move these around, what the top skills are. So this is where you're massaging your brand, and you're making sure that your top skills, your 3 top, are something that you chose to be there. And then what happens is that LinkedIn pulls these 3 top skills and sends it to contacts that and ask them to endorse you for that. Okay. Okay, I got a question. Does LinkedIn still ask for endorsements? You have to turn them on. I think it's a toggle. You can either shut them off or you can keep them on. It's a toggle view. And if anyone knows differently, let me know. I mean, that's what it was recently. I mean, LinkedIn is changing. They change. Sometimes they change like on a monthly basis, but I have mine toggled. So just check yours. Okay.
Anita, I have a quick question.
Yeah.
Back to the work history. So I took a few years off of tech, and I had jobs during that time, but now, my career is back in tech, and I always go back and forth whether or not I should keep those, because if I get rid of them, it looks like a big gap. And you can't really explain it from LinkedIn, you have to talk to somebody to explain it. But also, like, I feel like, well, maybe also some of those skills can translate, to whatever tech job it is or whatnot. So yeah, I was just wondering, should you put everything, especially like, at this point in my life, I have an extensive work history, and the list could be pretty long. So should I, get rid of that stuff or keep it in?
How old is it? How many years ago is the stuff where you had the gap?
Let's see, 6-7 years ago-ish.
We can look at yours. Let's look at yours when we go into a demo.
Okay.
Okay. And we can see, because this is one of those questions. It's different for everybody. It
Mhm.
depends on what that was that you did.
Mhm.
And it depends on how much stuff you have listed on your LinkedIn profile.
A lot.
Yes. I lop it off. I don't have my first ad agency job on Madison Avenue in, the 80s. Okay.
Yeah.
It's not on there. So there's stuff that's not on there. So yeah, just remind me, Brittany, and we'll go to yours first. Okay.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Number 10, again, manage recommendations. LinkedIn considers your profile completed if you have 3 recommendations minimum. Okay. So you can, just to do it's so easy these days. You just go to the person you want to recommend you. You have to be linked with them. You have to be connected. And then you just scroll down, you hit their profile and it says request a recommendation, and you ask them for the recommendation. And a lot of the times what I do is, again, control your brand. I've made the mistake many times of just asking someone to give me a recommendation. Hi, Todd, can you give me a recommendation? Thanks. And he writes a recommendation that really I didn't want. I didn't really want you to tell people I was good at, answering the phone, So I think what I tend to do is control it a little bit, and I won't just say, oh, will you recommend me? I'll say something like, would you mind recommending me for my our LinkedIn training session, and just discuss how much you felt that it was valuable and how you would recommend, that kind of thing. I kind of steer them in the right way. Does that make sense? So, all right. So Lou Timponero. Lou is, he's the head of aviation insurance at a place called Alliance Insurance in Park Ridge. And Lou has a really cool story. Okay, we worked on his profile from the beginning, and if you can all see this, his story is amazing. This was after digging, we got to this. His grandfather worked with Charles Lindbergh. Art and science of flying and aviation is in his blood. This involved he goes into his career passion has translated to personal interest. He's been a pilot for over 36 years. Okay. Then he goes into what he offers organizations. So it gets a little bit of his background, one paragraph. Then what do you offer organizations? What do you offer people that work with you or for you, or, and he talks about, holistic approach to risk management. And then at the end, I always say, add a little personal touch here. And of course, you can see here, everyone, he loaded his name. You say, thank you, Louis M. Timpanero, and you'll see it matches up here. Okay. I love that. And then of course, he always we put his links in, and under senior managing director here, under Crystal, we added links to his Power Broker Awards. These are actually, I think these are PDFs because they weren't live. So I just love how he did that. And then if you see here too, Lou also is a volunteer at the Midnight Run. He prepares food and transports, food and clothing to homeless in New York City, his skills, etc. And then of course he always fill out your honors and awards, always. It's really critical. It kind of gives you that level up, okay? And then the organizations he's with, etc. So I love this one. Let me just see if we have this. I like embraces, but yeah, okay. I'm curious, why not have descriptions? Because it's harder for people to read. So remember, you're dealing with a world that has the longest TV commercials are now 12 to 15 seconds long. Okay. You're dealing with a world that is digital, is over communicated to. So if you put too much in here, they're not going to read it. Look how easy his is to read. It's just, here's what he does. Here's what he does. Boom, boom, boom. And you get through it pretty easily. You say, you're not scrolling a lot. Now this guy's he's been working since 1985, but look how short I can get through this. And I know that because he's first VP of aviation, this guy knows what he's doing. I don't have to read what he did in 1970. Okay. That's why people just don't have the attention span. If they want to, know more about you for a job or whatever, then they can ask for your resume. And if they want to know, you can have a phone call with them, but it's not the right place for it. Okay. I'm going to go a few more minutes. I'll show you some, let's see what else. Does anyone want to see any special features? Oh, let me see. How best show both professional and side business. Oh, okay. So that's Sherry. Sherry, I'll show you mine. So I actually design, well, I haven't designed any in a little while, but I actually do jewelry design because I collect vintage jewelry, and I do jewelry design, redesigns of vintage pieces. So you'll see what I did here. This is what I do. This is my profile, founder, CEO, but I also do vintage and Vogue jewelry. I actually stopped it here because what happened was that it was coming above the founder, CEO of Leader I. So I stopped it at 2020 just to control where it showed up on the timeline. But it's perfectly fine to show that.
Yeah, I was actually trying to slide with the pictures in the background here. So, right. So I have my technical part, and then I have the chocolate business, and
yeah,
I do have it listed. And when I was looking for a job, I did take it out of my summary because I didn't want to have that in the summary, but it is still listed as one of my experience.
never take that out. It shows entrepreneurship, it shows leadership, it's fabulous. Okay, let's see what else we have. Would
To
love
that
to see
point,
more.
I'm sorry, to that point, it's Cindy, if you are looking for a job and you do have, like my business, I just put it in there like it ended because I thought that would be better to get a job without placing it as that I'm also have my business at this time. What is your thoughts on that?
I'm sorry, just hold, I wasn't, I was
That she
looking
has
for
a
the next
chocolate
person.
business, and if she's looking for a
Yeah.
position, is that,
Yeah,
what is your thought on that?
if she has a chocolate business and she's looking for a position, like a
New role, right? Does that deter somebody that you're not going to be full-time into the position?
it depends on what you're comfortable with. If you can have a conversation about that and how it's, I mean, I don't think anyone expects anyone to be a 24/7, you know, company person. I think you have, I think we've all accepted that we all have sort of a rounded life. And it's really what you're comfortable with. And what you're comfortable sharing, you know. I mean, for Sherry, I would never be afraid of that. You're at senior level. I mean, it's.
And actually, it turned out to be a really good conversation starter for most of the things, because people are
Yeah.
much more interested about the chocolate business than they are about software engineering.
Yeah, it's amazing, but yes, it is definitely, it definitely creates a warm bridge.
But I'm starting to think that I'd like to put my logo, like the chocolate picture with the rose, as the background picture, because you're saying the picture in the background, thinking, oh, like I could do that, right?
100% do it. That would be really unusual, and it would be you know, a conversation. So like, why is that in your, what's up with your, you know? I mean, it's a great, it shows both sides of the brain, you know, the creative, the left side, the right side. It's great. This is a woman, Alyssa Brady. And what we did is we took Alyssa, she did project management with tools. She helped companies find tools that worked best and made them efficient. Okay. So we came up with her keywords here. Okay. Here's her about Alyssa's. She helps businesses grow. She knows how to transform the way organizations find, win, and keep customers. Over 20 years, here's what I did. I'm highly energized by this. And working alongside C-levels, I facilitate decision-making. Okay, and then this leads to highly effective, more effective organization. She did not want to put something personal in there. So we left it. And then again, here's the name loaded. Okay. And of course, oh, good for her. Look, she put her Agile project management badge in here. And she attached it, if everyone can see it, to her position at GE. Okay. So this is a really good one to any, let me see what other questions I have. Do I believe the LinkedIn social selling index score is important? Absolutely not. That is LinkedIn's sales tool. So LinkedIn, LinkedIn has, they have to, they're a profit organization. So what they do is they create not only different levels of profiles, like where you can purchase your, you know, your account. You have a premium account, you have a basic account, and then you can have the LinkedIn Navigator account, which is a sales account. That's just that's part of their shtick to sell a really expensive product. You know what your selling index is? It's you. Okay, if you have a great profile like this and you show up well as an expert and you know how to talk to people and you know how to connect and you use the right connection skills, that's your social selling index. You don't, you know, I don't believe that I need LinkedIn to tell me that. So, yeah, okay. Okay, anybody else? Let me just see who else I need to go. Bob. Show you one more, Bob. Okay. All right. So Bob, what I love about Bob's is that we worked on his, this is a while back, but I just always love this because I love how he translated his strengths and his, you really get a feeling of Bob and what he's good at and who he is personally. And you see no jargon in here. He's just talking, you know. What is Bob really like? I am tall, 6'9", big personality who captures attention whenever I enter a room. This typically puts pressure on me to do something, which usually translates into taking up the cause or purpose in a leading capacity. I care about people. I'm passionate about bringing a positive approach. I enjoy being with my family. And here's my motto. So if you see what you're gonna see just across all these profiles, that these are just people talking and they're telling you about themselves. Okay. Yeah, so anybody else before I get started? So if anyone is interested in conducting this for, if you have any salespeople or anybody in your organizations that you might want to do some sessions with, I'm available to do that. Just link in with me and we can talk about it. But this does have a second session where we would go over business development, but this is critical just to get this part right. I think it's super. Let me show you. Actually, let me show you one more. I just thought of somebody else, John. So John is a John Santarelli, New York City guy. He's in DevOps. He is the global head of networking at Market Access. Okay. And he wanted to position himself to get into a C role. He wanted to be like C-level, like CIO, CTO. So we massaged his profile to make him, give him a lot of, to just show up some senior expertise. Okay, his is a little long, but he wanted to put this in here, but you'll see how he wrote, my career and talent has led me to a position. This is a typo. I have to tell him this. He changed this. I actually started him. We didn't do this part. We started him here. Many people ask me why I include my lifeguard position from 20 years ago on my profile. It's the start of a lifelong combo that begins with responsibility and nurturing. As a young person, I was extremely conscientious of my position and the tasks I was given to accomplish. What makes me excited? New and emerging technologies. Who am I at home? I relish time with my family and friends, frequently ride my Harley, ski, blah, blah, blah. And there's the name loaded, okay? And if you look here, this is very, very streamlined. He's a senior guy, but we streamlined his bullets down. Actually, I streamlined them more. He added them back in, but here we go. Okay. Licenses, always put your certs in here as tech people, and you're volunteering. You get a really good sense of him. I mean, he's doing Habitat, and this is like this is a good guy. He's a good person. You can get that feeling. So, and of course, we worked on these two. We made sure these skills were added into his profile. They weren't in there. He had things in here that said like, SharePoint and networking and, but in order to get to that expert level, we wanted to make sure that he had the right skills at the top. Okay. And of course, yeah, he got his 3 recommendations here. Okay. So that's really all I have for you today. Let me just have no more questions. Please feel free to, grab me on LinkedIn. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer them.